What's going on, man?
What's going on, dude?
All right. Well, we're gonna do a Jeltz here. Talk some baseball. Talk some basketball.
It's gonna
Maybe
be a
let's.
little hybrid Jeltz too, because I got something game related to throw in.
Cool. Now that works out. Yeah, and you've been playing a football mobile, haven't you?
Yeah, I won the championship,
Sweet, sweet.
and the second year has started, and 3 games into the season, and I'm getting my ass kicked. I'm 1-3,
So
or
what?
one and
What's
two.
so what's that? What's that game again?
It's called Football Head Coach 23.
Okay.
It's free to play. Um, you don't do anything. It's like baseball mogul in that you basically set the team and the lineup and stuff, but it's also one of those gotcha games where you open packs and you can get packs for free, or you can actually spend real world money. Now, I'm not a like big, oh, I'm gonna spend real money on this shit because it's a mobile
Right, because they
game.
could suck you in pretty fast.
Right. I will admit I did spend $5 on it so far. And I've been playing it for a while, but um it's dude, it's pretty good.
I
It's
know
pretty
you.
good.
Yeah, you had sent it to me, and I downloaded it, and then unfortunately, I'm still stuck on Retro Bowl.
Yeah.
So I was playing that on the Switch, and then I was like, yeah, I'll play it on my phone, and for like $2 you unlock basically the extras in the game.
Oh,
So it's like, why not? And then it's kind of funny because like I'm in like season 17 on my phone,
nice.
and it wasn't until like season 15 I learned how to run with my quarterback.
Dude, all right, so let's be real here. I still haven't really figured that out. Like I know how to do it, but I haven't figured out how to do it, if that makes sense. Like I know you hold one of the buttons and it makes them scramble, but I don't know.
Yeah, on the phone, at least on Android, you actually take and you act like you're throwing the ball behind you, and then that's how you just release it, and then you
Okay.
scramble. So you can, if you're getting pressured and to the point where you're going to get sacked, you act like you're going to throw it out of bounds, either up or down, and if you go completely behind you, so you're not in the line of sight of any receiver, then you immediately start scrambling.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I didn't learn that until well into my time. So
Yeah, that's the one thing with that game is that was the only part that I wasn't really a fan of is not being able to scramble with your quarterback. And then when they added it in and you could, and it was so convoluted, at least for me, because I have a simple brain. Um, it was, you might even say I have donkey brain. It was just real weird. And so I just never do it. I just try and I either run with my running back or I throw to a receiver.
but no, yeah, it's cool. We typically don't talk about video games here on our sports when we typically try to stay centered, honestly, on everything Philly sports or just something sports in general, honestly. But that does, I mean, they're sports games.
Yeah.
And what sports fan and what video game fan doesn't like to play, you know, a good sports game, especially on a mobile?
Right.
Because I'm sorry, but like we've talked on a regular pod time and time and time again about, oh yeah, I play my PS5 this much, or I play my Switch this much, or whatever. Quite honestly, the device that you're playing the most games on is your phone.
Right.
That's the general public for you, and so it's always nice to find a good sports game because that's usually what I play on mine.
Right. Now here's the other thing that I wanted to bring up video game wise. Um so th- have what's your experience with a TurboGrafx 16?
I never owned one. Um, I played one maybe a couple of times in the past, but that's probably about as far as it goes.
So it's a system I've always wanted. I very briefly owned one. Unfortunately, it was during the hurricane, and it became a casualty of, well, the hurricane screwed everything up. Got to thin out the collection a little bit. And now they're even more expensive than they were before. They're selling for about $250 used. So, a company we've talked about just a tiny little bit by the name of Analog. We haven't really talked about them too much, but they make really high quality reproduction hardware using FPGAs. So it's supposed to 100% completely basically recreate the hardware using upgraded hardware.
Mm-hmm.
And they're releasing the Turbo Duo, or the Analog Duo. Pre-orders open tomorrow at 8 a.m. Pacific, and it is an updated Turbo Duo, which is the TurboGrafx 16 with the CD drive, and it's has native HDMI out and Bluetooth controllers. Try and guess how much that costs.
So if the original right now is going used in, you said like working condition, right? For 250.
Yes.
I really
more.
or more. Okay. 200.
250.
Oh, no kidding. That was
And
close.
the TurboGrafx 16 being 250. When I say the TurboGrafx, I mean just the TurboGrafx 16.
Oh, right.
So not even the CD add-on or the Turbo Duo. The Turbo Duo is even more expensive.
Okay.
So basically, you're getting the upgraded version with HDMI out.
Right.
For the same price as the basic normal old console.
So keeping this in sports theme, then we can kind of wrap this into the TurboGrafx. Do you have any say on any of the sports? I have a list right now pulled up of the sports games that were released for the TurboGrafx 16. Do you have any memories or anything that you wanted or anything that you've played?
So here's the thing. I'm the only sports game that I know of for the TurboGrafx 16, because again, this is something I only owned it briefly as an adult. I never played it as a kid. I just always wanted it. And the only games I knew that came out for it were like Bonk's Revenge and Air Zonk. And then I knew that there was a golf game for it. But I really couldn't tell you any sports games that came out for it. I know there's a game called Oh, I forget the name of it. I can't remember the name. I want to say like Crusader Ascenti, but that was the one for the Genesis. That was like a Zelda clone. But there's a Zelda clone that came out for it that I really want to play too. But I couldn't tell you a sports game that came out.
Well, it's funny. So, and the reason why I had to laugh, you said golf, and that makes me laugh even more. So that had Jack Nicklaus Turbo Golf. That was one of the golf. I'm sure that's the golf game. It's like the only golf game for the system.
Did it have Lee Trevino's putting?
No. So that's what I was. So it's funny. The Lee Trevino's fighting golf. And that reminded me of the Simpsons episode of Lee Carvalho's putting challenge.
Oh, that's what I was thinking of. What I was thinking of.
Yeah. So, by the way, if you ever decide to Google that, somebody painstakingly a couple of years ago decided to make, I guess, some game you can play, I guess, in browser or download of the actual Lee Carvalho's putting challenge. That was a very famous Simpsons episode. But yeah, I just thought it was funny because like that game is obviously based off Lee Trevino fighting golf for the Nintendo. And I would imagine this game, the Jack Nicklaus Power Golf or Turbo Golf, has to be in the same vein.
Dude, it's
famous golfer with some word in front of the word golf. You know what I mean?
Who made it? Does it say?
Accolade.
Because there was a while where Jack Nicklaus Golf, I remember playing it on the PC a lot. And it was like the PGA Tour golf of its time, where it was like the most realistic. It was hard.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, they were. Yeah, Jack Nicklaus Unlimited Golf, Perfect Golf. That's right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I forgot all about those games.
Yeah, they were ridiculously hard.
And then, you know, it's a funny thing too. I just pulled up the Jack Nicklaus series on Wikipedia for the PC. You added on courses by getting add-on computer discs.
Yeah,
So buy yourself a handful of floppies and you get some more courses to play.
right.
That's pretty funny. So going back to TurboGrafx though for sports
Oh yeah,
games, we got to keep this sports related somewhat, right?
yeah, yeah.
There's John Madden game that was a duo game that was released. There. Oh, I'm sorry. There was a game just called Power Golf.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. Power
Okay,
Golf.
so there was another golf game.
Yeah.
There was a couple volleyball games, Sonic Spike, Super Volleyball. There a couple basketball games, taking it to the hoop. And then these interesting ones. I don't know. Have you ever heard of TV sports basketball or TV sports football?
That okay, so those were the like the first party sports titles.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like looking at the
Yeah.
cover art.
Yeah,
Then
they were the
obviously there's
first party.
TV sports hockey as well. And then it looks like there's a baseball game, world class baseball, that is not obviously sanctioned or with Major League Baseball. He's just a guy on a cover, not wearing anything to script.
Not
Looks like
wearing anything.
well, just
It's like he's wearing nothing at all.
just nothing at
Nothing
all.
at all.
Just holding up. We're gonna have to do like a whole separate Simpson series, I think. Just holding a bat there, but like, yeah, he's just wearing some nondescript uniform. But then it's interesting. So there's a game called World Sports Competition. Does this name ring a bell to you?
No, I think it's like an Olympic type.
Yeah, and it's a Hudson Soft game. So
Which Hudson Soft is actually first party for them.
really,
Yeah, because Hudson and NEC, that's who came out with the TurboGrafx 16. So that's why when it was so funny to see Adventure Island on other systems to me, because that game, that's why they stopped showing up. Adventure Island games stopped showing up on other systems because they came out with their own system. And then once that failed in the States, they, Adventure Island games started coming back. But but initially that's where they came from. And I believe it's the Monster World games. The Monster World game, and maybe I have this backwards. So Monster World was a Sega game, but it was the same thing as Adventure Island.
Mm.
And so I don't remember if Sega came up with it first and then Hudson licensed it and turned it into Hudson's Adventure Island. And then that's when they ported it to the NES and to their systems. Or if Hudson had the idea first and then Sega licensed it and turned it into the Monster Boy series.
Gotcha.
That's a whole nother video game episode.
Yeah, we can actually do on our regular pod.
Yeah.
But that's how we cross. You have to advertise during your. So people only listen to this for our sports. It's like, oh wait, they also talk about this.
People listen to this?
No, they don't.
Yeah,
we just pretend. But no, going back to World Sports Competition, this is the insane thing. So if you just and the website I was looking off of was some random whatever like trade-in website. But that one piqued my interest because the value, the trade-in values or the sell values or whatever, are up to $250. So it goes back to that 250 number. And I did a quick search on eBay, and it's all over the place. Complete in-box, $800. A graded version for well over $1,000. Manual only for $400. Like,
Jesus.
yeah, it's just insane. So,
Newtopia, by the way, is the Zelda clone that I was thinking of. There were two of them. It was Newtopia 1 and 2.
Gotcha. We'll have to do a deep dive on that and that's pretty cool. That's coming out though.
Yeah. So I mean, I clearly am not ready to plunk down $250 on a high-end TurboGrafx 16, but if I happen to win the lottery tomorrow, between now and when it releases,
yeah, there you go.
maybe I'll buy it.
One of the things we talked about on regular pod, we started talking about it off air here before we started recording, and is just sports cards, baseball cards, in general. And we've had a whole episode wrapped around trading cards on regular pod, and it's very fitting for a sports show. I've kind of gotten back into it a bit. My daughter's really big into baseball cards, whatever. So it's been interesting. I was a big collector when I was younger. Then I stopped for a long, long time. It seems like, and I don't know, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but it kind of seems like the market's back to kind of being at a fun point for like ripping open a pack and being like, "Ooh, I pulled this autograph," or "I pulled this whatever." I don't know. What do you think? Like, did that feel like we're kind of there in that?
I think so. I have not bought any packs this year because for whatever reason, last year I bought quite a few packs because Wawa was putting them at the front at the cash wrap.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was going in and I had a couple extra bucks, but fuck it, give me like 2-3 packs. So I would snag a couple packs here and there. But they haven't done it this year. However, I will say this: I was in Best Buy today, and they had a whole shelf dedicated to sports cards.
Yeah, they actually started, and they've done it for a while now. And the funny thing is, with Memorial Day approaching, they've actually discounted some things too. So not much, 10%, 50%, but they've got some of the blasters for Topps this year are on sale, and certain things that from the regular price anyway.
Right.
But yeah, it's really cool. Like we actually hit up a hobby shop. It's been about a month and a half ago when we took our trip down to Texas to see the Phillies play. And bought a box of cards there, and I hadn't done that for, dude, it's been years. You know what I mean? Like that, just nothing that, and it was cool just like watching her like enjoy something that I used to when I was a kid. Now of course the big difference when we were kids, we were ripping open wax junk basically.
Right.
Oh yeah, you can only get, I can't tell you how many times I opened up a pack of like the yellow 91 Fleer.
Oh, God, they were so awful. And then the only good things you could get out of, I believe, if I remember correctly, the best things you could get out of those ones were those, the black border, like art cards.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was like the Bo Jackson with the circuitry on his arm, and then there was a Ken Griffey Jr. one, which I never got, even though I fucking loved Ken Griffey Jr. and a handful of other players that had these art variants. And they were super cool, but that was the only reason I bought those hideous fucking. Who decided that a yellow border was a great idea? Those things were so awful.
That's one of the worst. I absolutely hated that set, but I opened so many of them because that was like I was the right age to. And of course, back then packs were like 50 cents. Not like they are now. It's ridiculous, but that was a bad one. One of my favorite sets, though, and the reason why I thought about it, I just love it because the colors was 89 Donruss, and it's another one of those cheap, it's black borders. But the problem is it's really hard to find perfect cards because those things are very easy to show dings and whatnot. But I was, flicking through and I was curious, and like PSA 10 Griffey Jr. cards out of that set are $500.
Oh yeah, easy.
Which is insane. But it's the graded part, obviously, that brings it up. But it's like, man, I remember having like probably 3 or 4 of those cards at least. Not PSA 10s, but
right. It's funny. Like I actually, so my dad and we did janitorial work when I was younger, and there was a period where he would, like, I would clean so many offices, and then he'd take me to Action Sports, or I think Action Video was the place. It was on Delsey Drive, or not Delsey Drive, Mantua Pike in Route 45.
Well, yeah, wasn't that down near Gino's?
No, it was up It was north of Geno's. It was more towards, where the Taco Bell was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it was in there on the same side of Bradley's and all that stuff was on, but
Okay.
south of Bradley's and all that stuff.
Gotcha.
And so he would take me there and he'd buy me a Griffey rookie. And so I had gotten the Fleer, I had gotten the Donruss, and I had gotten the Topps traded. And then somebody gave me the Bowman.
Mm.
So I had 4 of them. And then my little dumbass took them to school one day and I put them in a binder thing. And one of the older kids in the bus was like, "Oh, let me see your cards."
Oh no.
And they all got stolen except for the Bowman because I
Oh,
didn't put the Bowman in it.
it sucks.
Yeah. And I couldn't prove it. And I don't know who did it. So it's not like I could say anything.
I've got at least 3 of the tops that I'm aware of still on hand in storage of his. Again, look, I don't have anything graded really per se, so I don't know. And I'm sure they're fine. I'm sure they're
right.
But I'm not going to pay the money at this point. I'm not that part of my life to be like, oh yeah, let's see what this is worth, just to put some value on it of something I'm not going to probably sell anyway.
Right.
It's been sitting in a binder for 30 years.
Well, dude, honestly, you know what I was thinking? Maybe we should, I was looking at the grading things and it's what, like $100, and then you can send in so many cards. Maybe we should go in on a membership and then send some cards in.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea, just to kind of see like, hey, what we got here.
Yeah. Because hey, maybe that's how we do our big advertising push for the show.
Yeah, exactly.
We can make money to advertise by selling cards.
It'll be the Steve Jeltz episodes here that bring us to the top, not what we normally do.
Yeah, nothing with Richie on it.
No. Oh no.
Big's okay.
Yeah, he's all right. No, it's funny though. I've enjoyed it. I've been able to pick up some. I'm not putting a ton of money into it. That's just not something I'm very comfortable being like, oh yeah, here's $500 for this. Like, I don't understand where people get this. Like, I don't know if they're selling like organs or whatever, but hey, but if I see like a cool, like, oh yeah, here's a cool Phillies autograph of a young kind of, the players.
Right.
But like, one of the cards that we gave Katie for Christmas last year was an Alec Boehm signature, and it had a uniform like patch in it, and it was $20.
Nice.
So that was like one of the upper tier cards that I was like, oh, I don't know about spending more than that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like but it was like cool because it had an auto on it.
Right.
And I know it's authentic because Topps authenticated it on a card, and I think there's a lot to be said for that because I'm pulling through some like of my stuff, and it's like I don't have anything I know that I met the person and they signed it, or someone gave it to me and said, yeah, oh yeah, so and so signed this, but I don't have this. We didn't have that.
Right.
So the fact that like you can either pull it from a pack or, I've never really been screwed with on eBay. I've always had really good success with that. But I think that's pretty neat. Like you can still basically reasonably have like game used memorabilia and an autograph for a few dollars. Basically, you're not having to put out, unless it's like a Harper, obviously somebody big.
Right. Now, see, meanwhile, you're talking about this awesome freaking, Alec Boehm, which honestly, I'll tell you what, the kid keeps playing the way he's playing, and that might be worth a little bit of change there down the line. So then, meanwhile, I'm thinking of the signed cards that I've pulled from packs, and I've got a who's this guy? Eric Meyer, who was a draft pick of the Cincinnati Bengals. We all know he had an awesome career. Oh no, he wasn't even drafted. He was an undrafted free agent. I've got his card, authentic 2006 signature from Donruss. But yeah, I'm thinking that this is probably not worth anything if I had to guess.
Yeah, but he pulled it though. That's pretty cool.
But I did pull it. So, but it's a garbage card. And I know I have somewhere. What I'm looking for is, and this makes for great radio. I know. I have it's a signed JJ Stokes that I actually pulled.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say JJ Watt or JJ Redick.
If it was a JJ Watt or a JJ Redick, that shit would have already been sold.
But you're just like, you know what? Nope, it's JJ
Stokes, former wide receiver for the fucking 49ers, and he was supposed to be the next. He's supposed to be the next Jerry Rice, and newsflash, he wasn't.
No, but you know what? He actually, you know what's funny though? For somebody that I honestly can't remember, I really don't. I don't know why. Maybe he never had 1,000-yard receiving season, but he did have 4,200 career plus reception yards, 342 catches, 30 touchdowns. It was it just happened to be staggered out over many years.
Yeah, I mean, look, dude wasn't a bad player.
No, he was a wide receiver 3. It looks like, looking at his stats.
Yeah, he was a solid player. He just was never. He just never lived up to his billing,
his hype. Yeah,
right.
And you know what the unfortunate thing is too, is that he played on some pretty decent 49er teams there, with Steve Young as a quarterback.
Yeah,
because he started in '95 and went all the way to '02. And then he split time to finish off his career between Jacksonville and I guess New England.
Yeah. That sounds about right. That must be in my binder or something, because it's not in my box here. But
so I do have a funny one. So this is one of those crazy things that you can do on eBay at times. People will sell like just boxes of random cards and memorabilia. It's like just random lots of whatever. And obviously they've picked through it. They know what you're getting. But they'll tell you, or they'll send pictures and it'll be like, oh, it has this card or whatever. So like there's a few cards I saw like in this one listing that I was like, hey, you know what? This might be worth it. And so I got this pretty good sized box of stuff sent to me. It was like $26, but it had like a Ryan Howard jersey card in it.
Oh.
And some stuff like that. And it had some autos, but none of the autos were players that I've heard of ever. They were like Bowman draft pick cards of like the zeros, like the 2000s, of players that probably never sniffed the big leagues. And in some cases, there were multiples of these autographs. So what I learned was there was a baseball player, and I can't find him on Google right now, but his actual name was Kai-Yu, Kailui. And in this box that I bought, I had like 5 of these autograph cards by this poor guy who actually has the name Caillou.
That sucks. Here, just a. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. So it's a Kirby Puckett
Tetley
T.
Is it Teabag? What is that?
It was. I don't know what the fuck it was, but yeah, it's Tetley T. It's from 1988.
Tetley, that's cool.
Yeah, I have him and Eric Davis.
Davis.
Yeah, Eric Davis is complete with the T offer on the back.
It's a Tetley T disc. That's what that is.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I don't know what the fuck it's worth, but I've got it.
You said what year is yours? 88?
88. It's the first year, apparently, according to what it says on it.
So there's 1988 Tetley T discs. There are, I'm trying to think, 20 different players of that year. And it's kind of funny because you go through these players and it's like, oh yeah, this makes perfect sense for the error. You said you had Kirby Puckett, correct?
I have Kirby Puckett and Eric Davis.
You know what the best part? Yeah. So he was, yes, Kirby and Eric Davis were part of that set. And I'm actually on a PSA site, so I don't know if I assume this is complete. But the funny thing is that set has Billy Ripken, but not Cal Ripken.
What the fuck?
Isn't that crazy?
Who thought that was a good idea?
I mean, it has like some pretty other famous players, you know, Wade Boggs and
I'm
Roger
guessing
Clemens.
Steve Sachs is in that set.
No.
Huh.
Here, I'll just read you the list of 20 players, and this is so random. So there must have been some kind of like, I don't know, Wade Boggs, Ellis Burks, Don Mattingly, Mark McGuire, Matt Noakes, Kirby Puckett, Billy Ripken, Kevin Seitzer, Roger Clemens, Will Clark, Vince Coleman, Eric Davis, Dave Madigan, Dale Murphy, Benito Santiago, Mike Schmidt, Darryl Strawberry, Steve Bedrosian, Dwight Gooden, and Fernando Valenzuela. That's a weird, like, Matt Noakes and Billy Ripken.
Yeah. Like most of those players, I understand why they're on there because they were like all-stars in like 87, 86, 87, around that time frame.
Holy crap. Mike Schmidt, Tally T disc, PSA 9, sold on eBay 4 years ago for $158.
Huh.
So there you go. So there's some value to some of them, apparently.
Now, what I need to find is I have these posters, and I don't know what year they are, but I have Dick Ford and Pete Rose, and they're fold out like Topps posters from the 70s, 60s or 70s. And I don't know where they are right now to find them to give you the info for them. But
So they're Topps?
Yeah, they got to be worth something. Or maybe not Dick Ford.
Is it Dick Pole?
Dick Allen. Dick Allen.
Oh, Dick Allen. I was going to say the only other player was Dick Pole.
Yeah, no, not Dick Pole. Good old Dick Pole.
Aha, yeah, 1968 Topps posters. I guarantee you that this is probably it. There's a little money there. Is it like a fold out has a star at the bottom?
Yeah.
Yeah. They get their 1968. They let me see. I will send you. Actually, I found one on Amazon of all places.
What the fuck?
Yeah, let me send this to you. See if that rings a bell.
Let's see.
Again, I don't know if that's legitimate or not. So, but just looking for.
No, that's it.
Yep.
Now mine's like yellowed as fuck, but
yeah, no, that's cool.
I wonder if they would do a P. No, they probably wouldn't. They probably wouldn't grade them.
I don't know. They grade comics.
Yeah, but these when they're unfolded, they're
huge.
Yeah, so I don't know if they would grade that or not.
You know what I would give a piss poor grade to right now, and I'm curious to see your thoughts is where our Philadelphia Phillies stand right now.
Yes. I read an article about benching the Schwarbaum, and based on his defensive play, because his offensive play is where it is. He's not hitting. He's not really hitting for power either. He's just straight up not hitting, and he's having issues tracking the ball in the outfield. And I agree, I guess. I don't know. The problem is the person who wrote the article must not be very well informed because they wanted to put Christian Pache out there.
Yeah, you can't do that.
You can't really do that right now, can you?
But let's look at Schwarber's. Yeah, let's look at his first 2 months. What you alluded to offensively, 175. That's his batting average. 175.
What's how many homers?
10. But even then, advanced metrics says that that's good for negative 0.7 wins above replacement. Negative 0.7. So he's been a detriment, basically.
Now, is his WAR going to including his defense, or is that just an offensive WAR?
I'm on Baseball Reference right now looking at his player value, and that includes both his offensive and, well, yes, his offensive and his defensive.
Because if they were to split it, I wonder what it would be. Obviously, I don't think one is saving the other at this point. I think they're both shit.
His offensive, and I'm not sure how these numbers work, to be honest with you. This is something I need to study up on better. I understand my baseball stats very well, but there are different statistics here. There are offensive wins above replacement, which he is at a 0.1, which makes sense. He has 10 home runs, but he's hitting worth nothing basically as far as average wise. Defensively, he's at -1 even. Now that obviously that does not add up to -0.7.
Right.
But the wins above replacement is just the single number that represents, according to Baseball Reference here, the number of wins the player has added to the team. So there's some other calculation into that because there's different, they use WAR version 2.2, and I'm not going to get into this, all the, breakdown of all that, but look, he's just not been good at all. The problem is, who do you put out there? And you're paying the guy a lot of money.
Right.
You basically had to teach your guy who just recovered from Tommy John surgery how to play first base, so he's not eating up a hole at DH, which is crazy to me. So maybe that's where this happens. You put Bryce at first, you put Schwarber at the DH spot, and then you stick, I don't know, the hot dog vendor in left field. I don't know.
You got to call up Cave.
Exactly. And unfortunately, Jake Cave, who I really enjoy, I always thought Jake Cave was one of those players that, he never really kind of lived up to his own expectations. He was sent down. He was hitting 222, had a home run, but his WAR was even. So basically, he's like the replacement player. Look, if he gets hot like he was in spring training, he can be better than. But you're getting more value right now out of putting Jake Cave in left field than you are using Schwarber, basically.
Right.
I don't know. So then you have the other question too: is where in the world is Trey Turner's bat? Because that's basically been non-existent. So
which Trey Turner, I'm not as worried about Trey Turner. Trey Turner, I feel like he's going to turn it on. We got a taste of what he could do during the World Baseball Classic. He's done it for enough years that I feel like he'll regress to his mean, or progress to his mean, rather. But it's just going to be a matter of when, and hopefully he gets hot soon, because we're sitting at the exact same record we were at this time last year. And last year we fired Girardi.
Yeah.
And that was the spark that lit the fuse that led to our postseason berth. I don't think we're firing Thompson this year.
No. Oh no. This isn't on him. And Turner's actually, if you're using the WAR as the metric, he's at 0.6 right now. I think, for me as the fan with the finger on the pulse, if you will, and being a jerk, it's like, look, we're paying the guy $300 million. I want to see some production. And I compare that to Harper, who spent most of the season on the disabled list because of his recovery from Tommy John, and he's already at a 0.4. So that's why I'm starting to be like, I'm getting a little antsy here. I'm not worried either, but I'm getting a little antsy. I need to see that bat get hot.
And honestly, I mean, it goes beyond that. It's the whole team is not hitting with with runners in scoring position. You're not getting what you need to get out of your pitching staff, especially Taijuan Walker.
No.
Your two staff, quote unquote, aces have not performed like even capable 3 and 4 starters.
No, Aaron Nola right now.
A little bit, but
Aaron Nola sitting right now at 3-3 with a 4.53 ERA. That's, to me, does not speak of a top of the line starter. Neither does Zach Wheeler. He's the same 3-3 with a 4.06 ERA. They're not top of the line with what they should be. Taiwan Walker has been awful. 3-2 at 6.53.
Right.
Which sucks because you had, to me, honestly, some of your best starts from Matt Strom, and they moved him back to the bullpen.
Yeah, I mean, he started getting knocked around a little bit though too. So
Yeah, a little bit, but and you look at his numbers now, even at that, he's 3-3 with a 2.81. He's got an ERA that's 3.5 points lower than Taiwan Walker.
that's true.
It's like I would have rolled the dice and let him, because if Wheeler, Nola, and Taiwan are getting knocked around, and if Strom starts getting knocked around, well, okay, I can understand it. But he was pretty much only moved for, I think they brought that was, I know Suarez came back, but someone else. What am I thinking of here? I'm losing my mind on players that are pitchers they've used to start games. But he was basically, he was always going to be a bullpen arm, but it's like, it sucks because it's like he was giving your best starts. Like I would have left him in the rotation. I know he was getting hit around, but like to me at this point, he still offers more value starting because no one else is doing anything.
Right. Bailey Falter got sent down. So who
he
else?
He was getting smoked.
Yeah. You just got to hope with Bailey Falter that now his confidence doesn't get destroyed because he was put in a bad position, and I don't think he was ready to be a starting pitcher yet.
No,
not in the majors. And
that job should have gone to Painter, but unfortunately Painter got hurt, and Falter I think was, to me, we talked about this early on in one of these. It was going to be Wheeler and Nolan Wheeler at the top, and then Suarez, obviously, in the mix. Of course, he gets hurt, and then Taiwan Walker, obviously after the signing, and that fifth spot was going to be a toss-up. And to me, it was going to go to Painter, but then he gets hurt, so then you have to rely on a Bailey Falter or Christopher Sanchez or some of these other guys that have, come up and started, or Matt Strom. And I think that's what kind of gets me. It's like, look, he was the only one that was really consistent for at least April, like leave him in there, and let him at least start and show what he can do. Cause he was pitching well. He was fun to watch too. He couldn't really get out of the fifth inning because he was a reliever. So
would you say that's what gets your goat?
Matt Strom?
That or Chupacabra? Which gets your goat more?
Well, Chupacabra, obviously.
Okay. I just wanted to double check. Just want to make sure.
Last thing here before we close up shop, we have to address the Philadelphia 76ers obviously bowed out in the playoffs in a Game 7 to the Boston Celtics. But, we kind of expected that. That wasn't anything. I'm quite frankly, as a Philadelphia sports fan, just glad that they didn't make the championship and then lose in 7 to that at this point. However, we obviously speculated this on here before. Doc Rivers is gone.
Bye. I'm glad. It's a good fucking thing. Because you know what? Dude there was a time when he was a winner. That time is long since passed. And honestly, I'm disappointed in the team. I'm disappointed in Joel Embiid, the MVP of the league, who then after the loss comes out and says, the team needs to play better. Me and James can't win it ourselves. Well, motherfucker, you didn't exactly light the court on fire in that game.
He was hurt.
So,
and it's like, yeah, this doesn't rest on the team, buddy. This rests on you. You be very, to me, you need to come full force and say, look, I can't play to 100%. Because obviously he wasn't at all.
And look, injuries are a part of the game, and I hate to diminish what someone's accomplishments because of injuries. But if you look, every year, dude is hurt. Every player has to deal with injuries throughout the season. And it just seems like these injuries tend to affect Embiid more. Now, I'm not sitting here banging the drum to get rid of him because I know a lot of people are. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, fuck that guy. He needs to go. We need to blow up the whole team and start over. But where there's smoke, there's fire, as far as I'm concerned with him.
Mm-hmm.
And with all the load management days and all this bullshit, all the injuries, the little ticky-tack shit, and I know injuries add up. I know they do. And it sucks. But let's look at a much more physical game. Football. Let's look at a more physical game. Hockey. You have players playing until the end of the season, and you don't see a whole lot of drop off in some of them. Some of them you do. It's a noticeable drop off, and it just happens because the injuries that they're dealing with, and they're serious, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's never an excuse with them, with hockey players, with football players. These, Embiid, every fucking playoff series. Last year he was hurt. And last year he genuinely was hurt and he tried to play through it. I give him credit for that. But at some point, like there's hockey players that play with broken legs, that play with broken feet, that play with broken hands because it's the fucking playoffs. They go out and they do their job and they do what they got to do. Ian LePerrier took a fucking puck to the face.
Right. Gets 70 some odd stitches.
Right. And then comes back out.
Play. Right. Yep.
Zdeno Chara played 3 games in the Stanley Cup Finals with a broken leg. Zdeno Chara got his jaw broken. They wired it. The next game, he's back out playing a game. And you know what? That's the difference. That's why, look, I like watching the Sixers. I'll watch them whenever I have the opportunity. I don't go out of my way to watch them because the NBA is so fucking soft. People getting cramps and getting carried off the court like they just got shot. It's slightly better than soccer because at least nobody's blowing on you and you're flopping on the ground like in soccer.
Dude, exactly. And I think back and looking at baseball, and the baseball is getting to this point too. Cal Ripken Jr., Iron Man, well over 2,000 games played consecutively. Many a times it's been said that he played with broken fingers, and whatever he did at a position that required obviously catching and throwing, the guy was just otherworldly. Baseball players used to do that. Now it's like we're limited by pitches.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's on a 60 pitch limit, And what cracks me up about that is that you have pitchers that are on this pitch limit. There's some number that they just made up, honestly, because are you meaning to tell me that the warm-up tosses they're making, the time they're spending in the bullpen warming up, that doesn't count?
Right.
You can't, you're still making the same motions. You're still doing the same things. So are you really on like a 200 pitch limit, but like 150 of it is your warm-ups? Give me a break. Like, I don't know. It's frustrating.
And if you look at pitchers, like look at Nolan Ryan. How many fucking complete games did Nolan Ryan pitch, and how long did he pitch? Look at people from the past, and I get it. It's different now, but at the same time, dude, it's just some of it is just so soft. Like Bryce gets hit in the face with a ball, and he was back the next game.
Yeah,
remember, right? And then Bryce tears his UCL, right? Same injury that Brock Purdy has. He can't throw. So I understand Brock Purdy not being able to throw. And I'm not saying Brock Purdy's soft. Don't get me wrong.
He's in a position where he has to throw.
Right. I'm just saying it's the same injury that Brock Purdy got playing football. Tears his UCL. Continues to play and just bats. And then gets hit in the hand and breaks his wrist. He's out. He comes back, comes back better than he was before, and he absolutely rakes and single-handedly drags that team to the World Series, right? Has his surgery this offseason and comes back faster than any player has ever come back from that surgery before.
Yep.
The dude is tough as nails. You want to know why people in Philly love Bryce Harper? Number one, and I'll say this till the day I die. Dude wanted to come here. And people can say, oh, well, it was the money. It was this. It was that. Yeah, obviously it was the fucking money. But he was getting offers of that same money from other teams, from other organizations. He chose Philly. Not only did he choose Philly, he plays the game the right way.
Exactly.
And that's all we need.
Yeah, he plays it the way that people want to be, see it. And I think that's what, going back to the Sixers real quick before we sign off here. Look, Embiid is the person you build your franchise around. James Harden's not going to be there next year. It's going to be Embiid and some free agent that they sign. Has to be. I mean, they're going to do something. I'm not sure who the next coach is going to be. I don't even want to speculate on that because I just really have no dog in the fight.
It's Ty Lue.
Is it going to be? Is it going to be Tyrone? That's even worse.
Yeah.
Well.
And they're saying that might actually keep Harden here.
Yeah. But
he would have to take a reduced salary in order to stay. But that's why he opted out of he's not taking his player option so that he can sign for a lesser amount.
Yeah, and I still don't like that guy from the 2001 or whatever that was. the old step over stuff.
Oh, step over. Yeah.
So I don't know. All right. Well, in any event, we have anything to close this out with here?
I feel like there's normally something I say here, and it's very extremely poignant. Fuck Dallas.